and the driver can see what's coming ahead. As soon as any curves and slopes are involved, things get more complicated.
The issue about driving trains is that you have to be aware of your gradients and speed limits. Trains don't have very good braking compared to road vehicles.
Despite the slopes and curves, trains safely navigated the tricky route for more than a century. January 31st, 2003, an early morning Tangara-class passenger train was heading south from Sydney to Port Kembla. Shortly after 7 in the morning, the train passed through Waterfall. Journalist Noni Walsh was heading home.
I suddenly noticed that the train was going a little bit fast, and you could see people going, that's a bit odd, and I kind of remembered 2 corners and maybe a bang, but that was the last thing I remembered.
At 7:14 a.m., about 1.5 kilometres from the station, the 4-car train with 47 passengers on board derailed. South Sydney Fire Rescue Chief Superintendent Paul Bailey was on his way to the station house.
I was driving to work and over the radio heard the call about the incident at Waterfall. I was 10 minutes away, so I responded to the incident.
As Paul arrived on the scene, it was clear that a major disaster was unfolding.
We saw the back half of the train still intact and still on the rails, but as we walked closer we saw the first couple of carriages had actually derailed and toppled over onto their side. We weren't sure at that time how many people were trapped or indeed what the situation was.
Among more than 150 tonnes of mangled metal, Noni was a trapped passenger and injured.
It was pretty eerie and quiet when we came to. I blacked out, and apparently that's a good thing, because my friend told me later he was actually on his knees on the window watching the rails go past, terrified. And I'm so glad I didn't see that.
Paul and the other rescue crews swung into action.
It was quite traumatic for those people because not being able to get out of the train, they don't know if it's going to catch fire, they don't know what's going on. So our major concern was to ensure that those people were removed and get them away from the scene as quick as we could.
As Noni was pulled from the train, she realised the full extent of the devastation.
And it was really only then that we saw we were in something much bigger than we really knew about. It was, yeah.
Of the 47 passengers on board, 41 were injured in the wreckage. But tragically, the driver and 6 passengers died. This was a regular route with more than 50 passenger trains a day. An investigation was launched to find out what went wrong. Rail operations analyst Alex Wardrop was an expert witness.
The accident was unusual in that there was no collision or anything, and yet 90 seconds after departure from Waterfall, the train was a crumpled mess.
With no obvious track damage, investigators turned to one of Australia's leading engineering software companies. Technical director Dr. Jin Dong Yang and his team created an accurate simulation of the event.
We were tasked to simulate a number of scenarios to determine the most likely cause of the accident.
Running the simulation at different speeds revealed a key piece of information. Instead of slowing down, as the train approached the curve, it was gaining speed at an alarming rate.
The speed limit around this cutting was 60 kilometres an hour, but when the train took the curve, it was travelling nearly 120.
That made the train turn over and derail. The wreckage, the simulation showed very similar amount of damage on the carriages to what really occurred.
After it started to accelerate, it just continued to accelerate, and gravity did the rest. So by the time the train reached the critical left-hand curve, its speed was such that it was an unguided missile. The train rolled somewhere between 117 and 118 kilometres an hour.
But one big question remained. Why was the train going so fast in the first place? It turned out that before the crash, there had already been a tragedy on board. The driver had suffered a heart attack.
Before the accident, the driver, unfortunately, had died.
But trains like this have safety systems in place to trigger an emergency stop, the so-called dead man's brake floor pedal.
The dead man's brake is a safety switch that stops the train if the driver becomes incapacitated.
If he let go, the brakes would be immediately applied. And that didn't happen.
The investigation discovered that there was a flaw in the fail-safe system. As the driver slumped forward instead of releasing the dead man's pedal, his weight was still pushing down on it.
So it didn't matter if he'd slumped off, the driver safety device didn't cut in. And so it was clear then that the cause of the accident was that the driver safety device did not detect that the driver was incapacitated.
And this wasn't a one-off failure. Further analysis revealed that all Tangara-class trains suffered from the same problem. After the disaster, new fail-safe switches were designed which would automatically hit the brakes if there was no response from the driver, safeguarding against any repeat of the tragedy.
That was inevitably the root cause of it. The dead man's handle didn't recognise that the driver had had a heart attack, and it allowed that train to continue to accelerate. They changed significantly the way that their dead man handle worked on the train. So I think that was a good thing.
Paul won a house in one of Britain's most beautiful places.
You won the Barn House, that's insane.
It's fit for a couple of queens like us.
Nicola also won a house in a dream location.
We've been talking about downsizing, and now we've upsized.
And so did Darren.
Been living paycheck to paycheck, so this is a big change.
Now, this heritage house in Bath, worth over £4 million,
could be yours.
This is your very last chance to enter the Omaze £1 Million House Draw Bath, supporting English heritage. So enter today and you could win this house.
With all the furniture.
Plus £250,000 to help you settle in. But you must enter by midnight tonight at omaze.co.uk.
And soon you could be making a brand new start.
In a city with culture at its very heart.
Yes, you could be living mortgage-free in this stunning heritage property.
Or you could rent out or sell up and walk away a multi-millionaire.
One person is guaranteed to win.
But you must enter by midnight tonight at omaze.co.uk.
And the best part, you'll be supporting English heritage.
As it's your final chance
to win this heritage house in Bath.
Within easy reach of London, worth over £4 million. And the cash, you must enter by midnight tonight at omaze.co.uk.
Hi, check-in?
All passengers, last call for check-in. Check-in is now closed.
What a load of malarkey. We keep things simple, like 70 gigabytes for £9 on a SIM plan you can leave anytime. Search Smarty Mobile.
Discover the finest quality made-to-measure window dressings, exclusively online and delivered to your door. Shop now for an extra 15% off selected products at Blinds Direct.
Hey, let's play the Donkey Sanctuary Weekly Lottery. Let's play to win the £5,000 super draw like David and Kay. Let's play for the £1,000 weekly jackpot that'll have you rolling in it. And let's play to make a donkey's day, because every play makes every day better for donkeys. You'll help us love and care for donkeys all around the world. So play the Donkey Sanctuary Weekly Lottery for just £1. Call the number on screen to play now. Win our £5,000 Super Draw. There are hundreds of cash prizes up for grabs. You could take home the £1,000 weekly jackpot, like our latest winner, Gina. Hey, let's all play the Donkey Sanctuary Weekly Lottery. Call 0800 038 2513. Text Donkey4 to 78866 or search Donkey Lottery now.
And Anstead is fixing cars.
That's it!
To build a home for mum and dad.
That's how an Esprit should sound.
Brand new and Anstead Born Mechanic starts Monday at 9 on Quest or stream previous series on Discovery Plus.
In Texas, a suburban road collapses without warning.
Man, if it's a sinkhole, how big is it and how much bigger is it going to be?
In the UK, a cutting-edge build goes back to square one.
The ground underneath it had actually started to move. We were absolutely shocked.
One of America's most deadly disasters strikes in Missouri.
And that put my eyes right on the second floor walkway as it began to break apart.
And in Iowa, work on a crucial safety project grinds to a halt.
The number of crashes at this location were more than double the statewide average.
With big builds, even the smallest mistake can be a huge disaster. From miscalculations to misunderstandings, some with deadly consequences. These catastrophes are every engineer's worst nightmare. In the pursuit of audacious builds, engineers take on ever more unique challenges. Any mistake could lead to catastrophe. Like this tragedy in Missouri that left a nation reeling.
I was not ready for what I saw. It looked like a war zone.
Miscalculations combined with a change of plan had devastating consequences.
The Hyatt Skywalks disaster is one of the great disasters in American engineering history.
Kansas City, Missouri. Once famed for its cattle markets, the city became a major destination for work and play. Michael Mahoney is a local TV reporter.
Kansas City is a place where lots of people from the Midwest either come to work and try to develop careers here, or they come here visiting because it's one of the nearest big cities.
One big draw has long been music.
In the 20s, during Prohibition, Kansas City was sort of like Las Vegas. Anything goes. We had lots of late after-hours nightclubs, and the sort of jazz that developed here was called the Kansas City Jazz, and it's based off blues, and it's very distinctive.
In the 70s, as Kansas City's popularity boomed, distinctive new architecture began to appear, including a new luxury hotel. When it opened in July 1980, its 45-story tower dominated the skyline.
At the time, the tower was the tallest building in Missouri. It even had a revolving restaurant perched at the top with views across the whole city. But the architectural ambition didn't stop with the exterior.
Attached to the tower was a vast atrium, 15 meters high, designed to draw the crowds.
They wanted some piece of architecture, some piece of that lobby, so that when somebody would walk into it, they would go, goodness. And what they had here were these suspended walkways, 3 of them.
The suspended walkways gave stunning views of the space below, which in music-mad Kansas City doubled as a dance floor.
The concept of floating floorways above the lobby wasn't just truly spectacular, it was a serious engineering challenge too.
Kathy Hagan is a structural engineer.
There were 3 walkways, one at the 4th floor, the 3rd floor, and the 2nd floor, that just connected so people could walk across and get back and forth between those 2 areas. The walkways were hung with rods that were placed at quarter points, and they were about 1 1/4 inch diameter steel rods.
The 3rd floor walkway hung alone, but the 4th and 2nd were suspended together.
The rod was supposed to start at the 4th floor and go down through the 4th floor walkway and then down to the 2nd floor, and it was supposed to be one continuous rod.
The plan was for 6 14-meter-long rods to hang from the ceiling. The top walkway would slide up the rods with steel box beams supporting the deck, all held in place by large steel nuts. The lower walkway would then be lifted onto the same rods and attached the same way.
The fact that these walkways had no support from the ground and seemed to hang in space made the impact even more impressive.
The trailblazing hotel was completed in 1980 and soon became the place to be.
The intent of it was to have people come down on a Friday night and have a couple of drinks after work and enjoy the music and dance. And the word got around that this was kind of a cool thing to be doing in Kansas City, a way to kick off your weekend.
July the 17th, 1981, the hotel's Friday night tea dance was in full swing. Michael was covering the event for local news.
They had a good crowd. They had well over 1,000 people, no doubt about that. There were people up on the walkways looking at the vista down underneath of all the people dancing.
Just after 7 p.m., Michael and his crew were taking a quick break.
What we were doing was changing the batteries of our camera gear so that we could do the interviews. And at that point, I heard this really sharp pop, pop. And it was not a sound that was coming from the band. It was just an alien sound to the environment. And I immediately looked up to where I saw or felt like I heard the source of the sound. And that put my eyes right on the 2nd floor walkway as it began to break apart. And I could see the 2nd floor walkway begin to sag and then break apart a little bit. And at the same time, that part of the collapse also drug the 4th floor walkway down on it, and it slammed into it. They both dropped suddenly to the ground.
The 2nd and 4th floor skyways had completely collapsed.
2 things were really, really memorable. Number 1 was the dust. The lobby of the hotel just filled with this pretty thick cloud of dust. And then the other thing that was striking was the silence.
Fire department. Okay, please call to the Hyatt Regency. Have you been called yet? No, what's the problem? Okay, 3 of our sky bridges have fallen. We have injured people. Can you come right away? We're on the corner of Pershing and McGee.
A police officer at the time, Joe Kern, was one of the first to be called.
I got paged and told me to get to the Hyatt immediately. They had a major disaster. There was officers outside trying to control the traffic, trying to keep people out of there. But I was probably the 3rd or 4th that actually walked into the lobby, and I was not ready for what I saw. It looked like a war zone. It really did. It looked like somebody had just shot a big old bomb in there and just blew the place up.
216 people were injured in the catastrophe. Tragically, 114 lost their lives.
"42 years on Kansas City Police Department. It is the worst disaster that I have ever dealt with. I have never been back in that building.
It's difficult to comprehend the scale of this tragedy. This is the kind of disaster that every engineer dreads.
The Skyway collapse was the worst construction accident in US history.
The Hyatt Regency collapse at the time it occurred was the most devastating loss of life due to an engineering failure on record.
In the aftermath, state and city officials called for a thorough investigation. And the first clue was right above their heads.
The steel hanger rods were still attached to the roof, some with the nuts still in place. So if the supporting rods hadn't failed, the problem had to be with the walkways themselves.
After examining the walkways, investigators found unexpected damage. The box beams were splayed at the ends, where the hanger rods had once been connected.
The box beams were made of two halves known as channels, welded together top and bottom to make a box. But the welds were ripped and the boxes had split open.
Investigators believed the collapse initiated at the connection known as 9UE, which showed both buckling of the beam and torn welds.
So if you're looking like through the end of it, there was like these two channels that were back to back, and the bolt basically went through here and the legs of those channels just bent up. It pulled through that one and then it pulled through this one.
Calculations from the design phase found that these beams could support the walkways, but clearly they weren't up to the job. The question was why?
It seems the calculations were flawed and the connections were weaker than expected, but that wasn't all. Further investigation revealed there had also been a crucial design change made during construction. As a result, each hanger was made from not one, but two rods.
So this is a schematic drawing of the change. So this would have been the original rod going through the 4th floor walkway and the 2nd floor walkway, and then each bolt would have basically had that level's weight on it.
In the designs, one 15-meter-long rod supported both decks at each connection. The new layout used two rods, one from the roof to the 4th floor, a second from the 4th to the 2nd floor.
When they changed it, they went to two rods. So they had the first rod that came down, and then they offset that. And so then this rod, this bolt basically carries the load of this floor, but then this bolt basically carries 2 times the load because it carries this floor and itself. And so that was the initiation point of the failure that evening.
A good analogy is two people holding onto a rope. If each only holds their own weight, like the original plan, everything's fine. But if one hangs from the other, like the change, unless the top person is super strong, they'll both fall.
Investigators later discovered, even with the original layout, the walkways were barely strong enough to support their own weight. The switch to two rods was catastrophic.
The design change was requested because they would have had to thread the 4th floor on completely onto the rod, and it would have been very time-consuming and difficult to construct. So it was requested so it was easier to construct.
This change to the design probably seemed like a relatively small and practical solution at the time, but the consequences couldn't have been any bigger.
As the connections failed, the girders slipped down over the nuts, rendering them useless, triggering a cascade effect, bringing down both skyways. After the disaster, the whole atrium required major repairs. But in time, the skywalks were replaced, although with lessons learned from the tragedy.
The 2nd and 4th floor walkways were completely redesigned and rebuilt, this time supported by columns from below instead of hanging from the sky.
For the people of Kansas City, the tragic event of 1981 will never be forgotten.
We're at the Skywalk Memorial. This is actually the first time I've been here since the night of the tragedy. On each side of the pillars, there's the names of the people that lost their lives.
It's a true reminder of the responsibility that everyone takes on when it comes to building big structures.
The Hyatt Skywalks disaster is one of the great disasters in not only Kansas City history, but American engineering history.
Vitadora, living better.
Regular sitting could be unhealthy. Your muscles get tight, your joints become stiff, and you can feel tired and lethargic. This is the Motion Sizer from Dr. Ho. It's an effective solution that helps transform sitting into a healthier, more active experience. Now you can get moving in a low-impact way with Dr. Ho's Motion Sizer.
Motion Sizer is a passive motion exercise machine with all the features for comfort. Look, it's got 10 speed, okay? At low speed, it mimics like walking. At high speed, it becomes a high-frequency massager for your legs and feet. And it's got 5 levels of heat. Woo! That heat feels so good. It all works together to lubricate the foot, ankle, knee, and hip joint, and it activates the muscle to support circulation, loosen the muscle to help to refresh and recover your legs and feet. It just feels good.
With 10 variable speeds, you can customize your experience. First, at lower speeds, the Motion Sizer simulates the motion of a slow walk. Your legs move continuously while gently flexing and extending the joints of your ankles, knees, and hips. This helps lubricate and loosen stiff joints, relax tight muscles, and support your circulation. Enjoy the simulation of a gentle walk without actually leaving your chair. Plus, this non-weight-bearing, low-impact exercise is not straining and can be enjoyed by adults of all ages and fitness levels. Use the included remote control. All you have to do is sit back and relax. At higher speeds, the Motion Sizer becomes a high-frequency vibrational massager. You can feel the deep vibrations shaking and loosening the muscles and joints in your legs and feet. You will feel refreshed, relaxed, and rejuvenated. Last but not least, the Motion Sizer provides soothing heat to warm up your toes and bottom of your feet. You will love this if you have cold feet. Use it in the morning to get going, under your office desk for comfort, and to relax at the end of the day. When you order or call our UK call centre, why not upgrade to the Motion Sizer Fit model with 2 detachable exercise bands? You can help keep your upper body fit with low-impact resistance exercises. Plus, you'll get it all with delivery included. And our very special 100-day no-quibble money-back guarantee.
When I used the Motion Sizer for the first time, I was completely surprised. I could feel the relief all the way up to my hips. Man, it's magic.
It's sturdy, it's well made. My very first impression was this is a high-quality product.
I would recommend the Motion Sizer to anybody who's on their feet all day.
It was an incredible feeling. It felt so good.
Call 0800 820 3463 and speak to our friendly UK sales advisors, or go to drho.co.uk and keep fit while you sit with the Motion Sizer from Dr. Ho. Call or go online right now.
I just do what I do. You see me? I just do what I do. I just do what I do.
Brand new, One Day in My Body. Wednesday from 9 on TLC or stream on Discovery Plus.
We're good parents, Frankie.
Mom, he's got to be my bag back. I just turned off my phone for 15 minutes.
You turned off your phone.
I just needed a break.
But you're a mom.
The Middle starts Monday, 3rd of August on TLC.
Since the dawn of time, they've always been the coolest. They had a pretty big influence on art, too.
Everything is better with sharks.
Oh, my goodness. Where would the United States be without them?
In Washington, the current is with us. And so are the sharks. Now let's follow them to victory!
Dad, you're doing it again.
It's Shark Week. Shark Week, the greatest week in history, starts Monday the 3rd of August on Discovery.
San Antonio, Texas, a city with a rich past and home to one of the most iconic standoffs in US history. Local radio producer Jan Ross Piedad remembers the Alamo.
The Alamo is a big, big thing, not just for Texans, but now for Americans. For a lot of folks, it's a symbol of freedom and kind of fighting for independence.
But this historic city has its sights set on the future too.
So San Antonio has been up and coming in recent years. We're actually the 2nd fastest growing city in the country and also 7th most populous. San Antonio is a really amazing city.
With population growth like this come engineering challenges. L. David Givler is a civil engineer.
When you consider the history of San Antonio, it was a mission outpost under the Spanish, then it was a cowboy town, and today it's a thriving city. So there's been a lot of growth, and the old infrastructure of the past is just inadequate to support the current demands.
One piece of city infrastructure has been undergoing a massive upgrade: the sewage system.
In this case, there was deteriorating infrastructure, and because of that, a consent decree was issued for San Antonio to repair the sewer system. There were thousands of feet in each phase needed to be repaired, so it was an ongoing multi-year process.
San Antonio has a vast network of buried pipelines for water and sewage. Digging it up piece by piece and replacing it would be a mammoth undertaking.
In 2016, the infrastructure upgrade was going according to plan, but trouble was lurking beneath the streets. December the 5th, heavy rain was rolling through San Antonio. Mark Moody was on duty at the fire department when a call came in.
We were at the station, and it comes in, we look at the computer and it says there's a sinkhole. Well, that's strange. It's definitely not something we make every day.
Mark sped to the scene.
The weather was nasty. Visibility was tricky. The biggest thought was, man, if it's a sinkhole, how big is it and how much bigger is it going to be?
What the team found was shocking. A massive sinkhole had swallowed the road and was filling with water. When Mark arrived, the area was already being secured.
The police department has shut down all the roads coming in here to about right here.
Mark and the team had no idea how stable the ground was.
I walked up to approach the scene so we could determine how close we could actually get to the scene with the trucks without having any problems. We had a car on that side of the road that was right side up, and then on this side right here in front of me pretty much was a car that appeared to be upside down. All I could see was a single tire.
Darkness and poor visibility had made it impossible for these drivers to spot the sinkhole. Fortunately, 2 people climbed to safety, but rescuers weren't sure if everyone had made it out.
Obviously, something was allowing water to rush in to this hole. The water was spinning, and it was sucking down and going out. If anybody was to fall into this hole, they were going to get sucked underground, and they were going to get taken. Water's kind of a strange thing. It can look not violent, and it can be extremely violent. I think that the water is probably the most dangerous thing we have that we deal with because it is so deceptive. Nobody was going to be able to fight against that power of that water to get out of there.
Overnight, word spread about the sinkhole. The next morning, Jan arrived to cover the story, as Mark and the team tried to recover the inverted car.
It was just a cold December morning. We were just waiting on bated breath to see how it would go. It was a somber moment to be witnessing.
We brought our ladder out over the back of our truck. So from there, we sent a couple guys down on rope down to the bottom of the car and assessed it for stability, for ways that we could connect to it. Our guys were able to connect the crane to the car, and then the crane was able to lift the car up and set it down over here on the side of the road.
And I remember the car kind of rise up with all that brown water. Later for us to realize that there was a person in there.
When the car fell and rolled over, its driver hadn't stood a chance. As the city mourned, drivers were fearful of hidden pitfalls under their roads and wanted to know why this one had collapsed. One possibility was the very ground upon which San Antonio sits, as geologist Matt Cannon explains.
If you know much about the geology of San Antonio, you know that we exist in a sea of limestone here. Limestones are very easily dissolved by weakly acidic water, which leads to the formation of karst and sinkholes.
The limestone around San Antonio dissolves very slowly, but it's riddled with caves, and when the roofs get too thin, they collapse without warning, forming sinkholes.
Matt quickly realized there was more to this catastrophe than geology.
As soon as I saw images of the sinkhole itself and the aftermath of it, it was clear that this was a human-induced sinkhole. This was a pipe that broke and suddenly released an enormous volume of water underground. When you suddenly unleash that volume of water, moving at those speeds underground, the rate of dissolution of material is going to be very rapid, especially in unconsolidated sediment like what we had in this particular case.
The problem appeared to stem from a sewage pipe that had been undergoing renovation. L. David Givler was called in to investigate.
Here we have the original 54-inch or 4.5-foot diameter sanitary sewer pipe that was installed in the 1960s. The old pipe was concrete. The new pipe was something called FRP, fiber reinforced polymer. And this is a new junction box 4, which was also installed as part of the Phase 2 work.
The junction box joined the old concrete pipe and the new, much wider reinforced polymer pipe, but the temporary fix was flawed.
Corrugated metal pipe was used for the temporary connection here, but that's not standard. Metal pipe is almost never used in sanitary sewer systems. And the reason is because sewerage has gas dissolved in it called hydrogen sulfide.
When hydrogen sulfide mixes with bacteria from the sewage, it creates sulfuric acid, which is highly corrosive to some metals, and it had been eating away at the corrugated pipe.
Instead of acid dissolving the limestone, in this case, it had dissolved the pipe.
This photo shows the corrosive nature of the environment that was in the pipe and gives some hints as to how it deteriorated. It was an 18-foot pipe, and there were only a few pieces of it left after the acid had done its work.
Delays in the project meant the makeshift pipe was in place for 21 months, slowly being dissolved. But the material wasn't the only problem.
There's another complicating factor here, and that's that this connection at junction box 4 was not a secure connection. There wasn't any structural aspect of this connection that prevented the pipe from sliding down. And then this wasn't watertight, so this was creating a flow path for any leaking water to erode soil out and into the junction box.
The choice of material combined with a lack of support meant that this connection was never up to the job.
As the connection failed, sewage began to leak from the pipe, silently washing away the ground beneath the road with tragic consequences. The solution here was straightforward. The temporary connection was replaced with a permanent section and the road rebuilt above it. But it was an important reminder of how vital functioning infrastructure is.
When you just consider how people think about sewer lines, I mean, they're boring, insignificant, and here's an example of what can happen when the chemistry and the physics of the situation take over and disaster results.
That's the problem with buried infrastructure. It's impossible to monitor every last piece, and if something goes wrong, you might not know it until it's too late.
This tragic case caught the city's attention and prompted significant changes.
Billions of dollars were allocated towards having better sewage infrastructure, but it's also possibly a cautionary tale of making sure that when those plans are set, that the job is done right.
You do know someone's going to win this house.
Yeah, but the draw closes this Sunday.
So if you want to move in, you better get moving.
Because this is your very last chance to win this heritage house in Bath, worth over £4 million. Enter now, and soon you could be feeling like grand prize winner Paul.
You've won the Bath house! That's insane!
It's fit for a couple of queens like us.
And Dorset house winner Chris.
I'm retiring! You won the house!
And Lake District house winner Nicola.
We've been talking about downsizing, and now we've upsized.
But you must enter by midnight tonight at omaze.co.uk.
You really could be living mortgage-free.
In this period property.
That comes with all the furniture and £250,000 to help you settle in. Or you could rent out or sell up for over £4 million. One person is guaranteed to win. But you must enter by midnight tonight at omaze.co.uk.
And here's the best part. You'll be supporting English heritage.
So, for your very last chance to win,
this house in Bath.
Within easy reach of London, worth over £4 million. And the cash? You must enter by midnight tonight at omaze.co.uk.
Discover the finest quality made-to-measure window dressings, exclusively online and delivered to your door. Shop now for an extra 15% off selected products at Blinds Direct.
Sounds like Ojo time.
Feel the fun with top bingo games like Deal or No Deal and Cash Cubes. Money back on every game and instant payouts. Funky.
Feel the fun. Play Ojo.
Unexpected expense. Drafty's got your back. Borrowing £100 for a month costs less than £6. Apply at drafty.co.uk.
We were thinking of spending £1,000 on a new bed, but then we went online and saw this one at dusk.com, and we loved it, didn't we? And it was a lot less than we thought it would be, which means we have money left over for, I don't know, a simple but classic solitaire diamond engagement ring? Or whatever. Just saying.
Furnish your home with fabulous prices at dusk.com.
With the UK's best breakdown service, you'll be back on the road in no time. That's why millions of drivers choose the AA. Join today.
This is my confession. On Friday the 13th, I do have desire to kill. He scripted himself a horror movie. It'll be very brutal, but it'll get people's attention. A whole family slaughtered. It was like a horror film.
He shot him up like some type of butcher.
If that won't scare the bejesus out of you, I don't know what will.
The Friday the 13th Murders starts tonight at 10 on ID. Can't wait. Stream now on Discovery Plus.
All behavior you willfully engage in has consequences. We, the homicide detectives, are the consequences, and we're going to crush you.
American Detective with Lieutenant Joe Kender starts the 5th of August on ID.
Shark Week, the greatest week in history, starts Monday the 3rd of August on Discovery.
In engineering, construction success always begins with solid foundations. But sometimes the unexpected can sink even the best laid plans. Like this disaster in the UK. A building demolished just weeks before its completion.
This is the first time that I've ever come across a story like this.
An engineering fail that came to light at the 11th hour.
I was shocked. I thought, how could they mess this up that badly?
And a trailblazing build goes back to the drawing board.
Sometimes there's just no option but to start over.
The ancient city of Sheffield, England, for centuries home to a world-famous cutlery industry and the birthplace of stainless steel. Alana Roberts is a local journalist.
Sheffield is actually very well known for its steel industry and its steel heritage. A lot of the buildings around Sheffield are actually quite old.
As well as forging steel, Sheffield has a reputation for forging great minds, with a university population of around 60,000.
Sheffield is a very kind of student-focused town. The University of Sheffield campus really kind of stretches across the city. It's very well known. Everything kind of centres around the universities.
In 2018, the University of Sheffield unveiled plans for a new state-of-the-art building, designed with sustainability at its core. Jake Loader was an undergrad at the time.
When the plans for this building were announced, there was so much excitement from the students. It was going to be this massive, sustainable, really advanced technological building. We just couldn't wait to get in there and start to use it.
The structure's curved steel frame echoed the city's industrial past, but its staggered glass facade was more than cosmetic, designed to allow light in while keeping heat out, boosting the building's eco-credentials.
The building that we're using at the moment is dark, it's dingy, it's depressing. This brand new building is going to be incredible.
Construction on the £65 million project began in May 2019 on the site of an old sports field. Like any structure, it would rely on solid foundations with deep footings known as piles. Geotechnical engineer Jeffrey Pereira specialises in pile foundations.
Piling is done mainly to support and give the stability to the building. Just imagine that you're trying to build a house on a bowl of jelly. If you put the house on the bowl, it will just sink through the jelly. So what piling does is holds the house up such that it doesn't sink down.
With many projects, piles are driven down into the bedrock, creating a solid base to build on. But this wasn't a normal construction site. The groundbreaking build was above a former reservoir.
The reservoir had been there since the 18th century, but in the 1950s, it wasn't needed anymore, and the hole was filled with rubble. The messy ground was a real challenge for engineers.
The entire footprint of the building was above the old Godfrey Reservoir. The rubble fill, said to be from buildings bombed in the World War II Blitz, was less than ideal for sinking pile foundations into. Despite the complexities, the build was scheduled to take about 2 years. Due for completion in the summer of 2021, just in time for the new academic year.
We walk past it every day. Each week there was a new development, and it's ridiculously exciting. First of all, you've got the foundations, then the next week you can walk past it, you can see the concrete, and it got to the point where you could really see the building starting to take shape. We were all absolutely buzzing to get in it.
This was to be a world-class construction for a world-class university. May 2020, and work on the new building was making good progress. But just as the main frame was nearing completion, the build hit the brakes.
I woke up to a text from my mate in the morning. He said, "Have you seen the news that half the building was going to be knocked down? The ground underneath it had actually started to move." We were absolutely shocked.
Worse was to follow. In August 2020, with partial demolition underway, contractors announced that the entire building would need to be torn down. For local journalist Alana Roberts, this was breaking news.
The university and the contractor actually announced that there would be a full demolition of the site. It really shocked me that something like this could go on. This is the first time that I've ever come across a story like this.
It's normal for construction projects to go over schedule, over budget, or both, but to have to knock something down and start over, something must have gone seriously wrong.
I thought, how could they mess this up that badly? How can you make a mistake that big?
What had gone so wrong with this state-of-the-art structure? The developers discovered the problem lay with the pile foundations. Geotechnical engineer Jeffrey Pereira explains.
Piling is like our legs for the building. If you have very strong and steady legs, then you hold the building out really straight and well. But if you have wobbly legs, then the building will tend to sway and eventually crack. So the better the legs you have, the better the support is for the building. It is really important to get your piling right.
Here, it seems the problem stemmed from the very early stages of preparation.
Like any construction project, ground investigation was carried out to make sure the project could go ahead, but given that they were building above a rubble-filled reservoir, it was particularly important.
To get a really accurate picture of the ground, engineers drill a network of boreholes so they can see for themselves what's underground.
The ground inspection was thorough, but as the structure was nearing completion, unexpected levels of subsidence were recorded.
We designed the piles to settle to within an allowable limit. We know that the building can withstand certain movement in the pile and yet still be fit for use.
The initial